we're back. This is John.
Hey, Paul.
And it's Eric.
This is What If Geeks. Paul is back again on...
Back.
Like a bad case of hemorrhoids. Anyway. No, so Paul is, once again, for anyone confused by what's going on more than us, Paul is in Alabama visiting family for the holiday, right?
Yep.
I thought he was at a
rural Alabama
dog breeding farm or something.
On a porch watching two dogs.
He's on the Isle of Dr. Moreau.
Watching a confused young male dog trying to hump a in-heat female. They're some kind of blue something hound.
It's like a blue tick hound or some shit, right?
Yeah, they're really pretty dogs. And Lady is in heat, and Dutch is, she stops moving. He is trying to hunch her head, her ear.
Their
her
names are Dutch
side.
and Lady?
Yeah.
Yes.
That is so southern.
Yes.
He's in Alabama.
Yeah, fair point.
What the fuck did you expect?
And,
you go any further south, you're with us with the fucking idiots trying to rob Taco Bells with like bananas and shit.
Listen, I had to get my passport stamp to get here. And so, yeah, she stops moving and he starts hunching, and it doesn't matter if he's, in the right spot or not. He's just...
Yeah, you sent that picture, and there's Dutch just humping the hell out of this dog's rib cage.
Yeah.
That was amazing. All right, so on that note, much like Dutch, we are also thankful for certain things. And today is Tuesday, the 26th of November, 2 days away from Thanksgiving. So I think appropriately, maybe we'll just drop this one on Thanksgiving. That'll be cool.
Okay.
Kind of give everybody a little Thanksgiving gift. Since we've already done, tonight we've done Mandalorian episodes 2 and 3 to recap. Paul was on 2, and then we did 3 together, just me and you, Eric. So we'll drop those 2 like tonight and tomorrow, and then give somebody something to listen to on Thursday while you're making your turkey and shit. That'd be fun. All 3 of you can enjoy it. Or actually, no, sorry. Maybe possibly 300
of you.
300 of you motherfuckers are on Facebook. You need to start listening to this damn podcast. There's another whole section of this shit. It's growing. It's growing. By the new year. Maybe by the new year we'll actually start... we'll get into that at the end of this episode. So with Thanksgiving being what it is, like Eric is the king of writing our set list, I guess, our storyboard, whatever you want to call it. Set list is good. It's like a radio
script
show.
writer.
You're a script writer. So we go by his set list, and thank God for that because he works from home and does his thing, so he kind of fits it into his time. Because I'm across town, and I can't do it. So I keep wanting to remind you that I thank you for doing this kind of shit. So it's one of the first things I'm thankful for is you kind of taking charge on a lot of this shit and running around like a maniac doing this stuff. I appreciate it. But
me too.
Yeah, making the dream happen, huh?
Yeah, and like
you can't see
very,
my tears right now.
Yeah,
and Eric's notes are very detailed. Like he's got the who, when it's an episode, it's who wrote it, directed it, stars, what else they've been in. Like gives us a lot of stuff to not just talk about, but go on tangents on.
Yeah, stuff for us to feed on, so that we've got the ammo we need to do what we do, and it's really cool. I mean, some might say his notes are anal, but that's why we love him. It's amazing.
He's a detail enthusiast.
He is. So yeah, so with Thanksgiving, I guess well, the first thing we got here is we want to kind of discuss, and I guess we can start with you, Paul, since you seem like the dog's taking a smoke break. We're going to talk about what was your Thanksgiving like growing up. So talk about you're up in Alabama now. I know that's not you, but go ahead.
Yeah. So growing up, they were sort of traditional Northern Thanksgivings. Most of my family's from Pennsylvania, so we would go back to Pennsylvania. Bigger family, but we had more of the sort of traditional Northern sort of side dishes. We had this, like we stuffed the bird, and so you had an internal and an external stuffing, those kinds of things. And then when I got married and started coming down here to Alabama, like they don't stuff the turkey, and they don't eat stuffing. It's dressing, which is sort of cornbread based and different. So I have to get used to that. So they've changed now that I'm married and married a Southerner. Bigger family, much more food, and more drinking.
Yeah. Yeah, like for me, like I say, as far as like the stuffing, dressing kind of thing, like growing up, well, of course, with like, parents dying, this and that, whatever. When I was a little kid, it was like immediate, like my mother and her side of the family, with, my father and me and my brother. But it was my mother's whole side of the family kind of got together, maybe a couple of people from my father's side. But we would do like Thanksgiving at our house every year. It was turkey, whatever, stuffing, all that kind of shit, like you said. And then after my parents died, we moved in with my aunt and uncle. My aunt is Italian, so my mom now is Italian. So the whole family is Italian on that side. So I'm raised by an Italian. This was a complete change, mostly. Like, you still have turkey and stuffing and this and that, but you start with antipasta and this and that. And so you eat like 7 things before you think Thanksgiving's bad enough. But, yeah, I mean, they will feed you until you're ready to die. And my grandmother was straight off the boat. And she would like, what's the matter with you? You're not eating? Here. And she would like, every time you were walking through any part of the house, if you don't have a plate in your hand, she was not happy. So I'm surprised it took me this long to reach this weight. But, so then, I leave, I join the Navy, whatever, and get with Heather. We almost never do Thanksgiving here. We normally do it like at her cousin's house, now that we're down here in Florida. But we do it at somebody else's house because, as we all know that I've said before, Heather has, we would pick and choose who would host what holiday within the military. And Heather always had Christmas Eve. Huge dinner spread at Christmas Eve. 30 people at the house, easy, no problem. So Thanksgiving was always, she didn't care. It could be somewhere else, or we can go out to eat. We always went to somebody else's house for Thanksgiving. So this one year now, but to your stuffing note, when Heather cooks for like, even for Christmas, there's stuffing too. But she doesn't put it in the bird, but it's also not cornbread either. It's still like a stuffing that you would think of like a stovetop type of deal. But it's got sausage in it and shit, and she cooks it in the oven. She never puts it in the turkey. So, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where she got that part from, because she's from Wisconsin, so it's not a southern thing for her, but whatever. Apparently, Wisconsin, fuck it. Don't go in. Whatever. Anyway, they don't go in there. So
German influence in Wisconsin.
Yeah, there you go.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah. So, this year, her cousin's out of town, so now it's become a thing where everyone's going to laugh. But Heather was like, we all know Heather's gotten over surgery now, and she's kind of slow to recoup. We were like, what do you want to do for Thanksgiving? Because your cousins are out of town. She said, we can just go out to eat. And I said, well, why don't we just have it here? You cook every Christmas Eve. I said, I'll cook. And she laughed at me. So I was like, well, fine, fuck you. Now I'm cooking. So I was like, I can follow directions. Damn it. I mean, I fry the turkey. I fry one of the turkeys at Christmas. She bakes the other one. So I at least know how to do that. I said, you know what? I'm going to figure out how to fucking bake one now. Now I'm going on YouTube. Fuck you. I'm going to figure this shit out. And it's just, she laughs. So it's become this thing where she's joking with me now about, well, you're doing Thanksgiving, right? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I got it all. So we're prepping now. We've got like everything ready to go. She's picking up the rest of the food tomorrow for me. And I'm going to have our daughter help me out because she can cook. She was a little insulted. She was like, I'm not helping. Like, shut up, you can help, relax. She just got mad. I said, no, it's a thing right now. I said, your mother's pissing me off. I'm going to show you I can at least do something in this house, damn it. So, Eric might get a call Thursday morning, like, what the fuck is going on with this?
I'm a little worried because I'm going like 45 minutes east.
You'll be all right.
That day.
Butterball has a hotline that they open up right around Thanksgiving, and they keep it open Thursday. Butterball has a 1-800 number you call with any sort of turkey-related question.
They do, and I've known it for a long time, but I'm curious what people call that number.
Yeah, right?
Like, who is it?
You might find out this Thursday.
Who is it that's calling the Butterball hotline instead of, like, I don't know, phone a friend or the internet?
I refuse to call the Butterball hotline.
But they open it every year, so they must get calls, right?
They have to.
It's like you're a lone 80-year-old auntie trying to...
Of course, you know what? I have known a lot of people that can't cook, so I'm pretty sure I know a lot of people that have called that hotline.
Yeah.
But
what setting do I put the turkey on in the microwave?
Yeah.
I don't have 4 hours to cook this thing.
Do I still wrap it in the foil or
Right.
No? Look, I mean, again, plus Heather's here. I'm not going to let her physically do anything, but she's here. I can ask her advice, and she'll giggle and tell me. It's not that big a deal. But we got a turkey.
She's probably going to say to you might as well just give up every time you ask something.
Oh yeah, I know. It's gonna be fun. But it's the first time in I can't remember how long that we'll actually just have a Thanksgiving in my house, just kind of relaxing. After I get done cooking, whatever the hell you're doing to those kids, stop. He just hit them with the phone. So we'll just kind of chill out and watch football, and hopefully I'll watch the Cowboys get beat after I eat whatever I try to cook. It'd be great. So that's what we're doing. What about you, Eric?
Growing up, huge family back in Central Illinois. My dad's 6 siblings on his side and 3 on my mom's side. So it was always like, man, those kids are going nuts over there.
Right?
The dogs were humping each other. Now it's switched. That's not good.
Can you hear that? I'm on the porch. They're inside.
Yeah, we can hear that.
Oh yeah, we can hear them
like
clear as day.
It sounds like they're running circles around you.
Oh no, they're inside.
So yeah,
but you know what? It is Coleman. So
yeah,
touche.
Yeah.
He and Noah give each other a run for their money with their screaming.
When my dad's dad was alive, we used to do Thanksgivings at his house every year, and it's not a big house. It's a really small house. So you fit 30 plus people into. It's
like sardines in a can?
It's basically a 2-bedroom house, and then they did a little addition on the side to add 2 more bedrooms because it's Irish Catholic family and they had way too many kids.
Right.
So they did a little addition on the side to make 2 more bedrooms. And with that addition, they also added a dining space that was a little bit bigger than the one they had. So that's where we'd have the Thanksgivings, but it wasn't big enough for everybody. So you could fit like an L-shaped, like 2 folding tables or maybe 3 in there if you're lucky. And then you'd have to have people in the kitchen. You'd have to have people in the living room, on the couch.
Sure,
there wasn't enough room. So it was crazy though. And it was always like, it wasn't just for me growing up, it was me with 30 cousins there. You know what I mean? Like, or even second cousins. Like actually, my kids know their third cousins. That's how ridiculous it was.
Eric went to Thanksgiving with family he could have fucked.
Yeah. Legally, I probably could have dated some of them. We didn't work that way. But
unlike Paul, who's about 200 miles away from... Never mind.
Listen,
but it was...
I'm in Alabama where that was perfected. So.
Yeah. So it was like that growing up, big groups. My grandfather died when I was... I must have been 9 or 10 or so. I wasn't very old. And he died, and so then my mom picked it up, but the group got smaller because, well, it was another small house, but it was also just like, okay, we're not going to have great Uncle Frank or whatever the hell it is come in and do this too, right? So
Mom dwindled down the list.
So the group got a little smaller, and then I left. Of course, I lived in Germany for several years, and then my wife and I lived in D.C. area, so we would just come back for Thanksgiving. But then we moved back in 2012, and then so we started having the family gatherings because we actually had a decent sized house,
right?
And so then it all kind of picked back up, and we'd have like 40 people there, and it was like it took like 3 turkeys to feed these people, right, and a ham. So I'd bake one. My friend Jamie would deep fry one. Sometimes we'd have somebody else bring one. Sometimes I'd also bake a ham. It was just madness. And then we have all the family members. At least every family has to bring at least one epic size side, right?
Sure.
So my Aunt Ann always used to do the mashed potatoes, but it was like 2 5-pound containers of mashed potatoes that she would make.
For those of you listening, Aunt Ann from the wonderful Joker review that we did.
Yeah, and the boys review.
And the boys review
too.
Yeah. And random conversations elsewhere.
Yeah.
One of my biggest fans. I love you, Ann.
Yeah, I think Ann might be doing a Thanksgiving this year. This will be the first year ever, though. So what are you doing this year? This will be the first year ever. We're not going back. We're not going back. We're not going to do the family thing. We're going to do it here with some friends down the road. We went back last year and it was like brutally cold. It was like -4 degrees there, and I was like,
speaking of which, it's fucking cold.
I don't ever want to do this again, right? And now I'm still crying. It's almost Thanksgiving and I'm still crying, but because it's 55.
Yeah.
Not because it's -4.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's what we're all doing this year, right? Well, we all know what Paul's doing. He's up there getting humped by a dog. He's getting stuffed already.
But you'll get good food for it.
That joke's not going away, Paul. I'm sorry.
Live dog porn.
And he's taking pictures, too.
Right.
We have evidence. He took pictures of this.
Documenting it. If the FBI comes and knocks on my door, I don't know what I'm going to do. Don't know what I'm going to do.
I don't know. It'll be all right.
I don't think
You
the
just
FBI.
search-
I don't think the FBI comes to Alabama.
They'll be down here waiting. They'll be like, we see you've got pictures of dogs humping and a Google search history of naked men. I swear to God, it was a Batman review.
Explain this. Yeah.
All right. So on that note, before we lead into the rest of this, I guess go kind of round table real quick. What is everybody thankful for? Yeah, that word. Thankful for. I'm thankful for English. No, go ahead, Paul. What are you thankful for?
I am thankful for. I hope this doesn't sound too cheesy, but both you guys doing this podcast.
Well, listen, Paul, if
John?
you don't stop robbing me of everything I'm going to say today.
I was gonna do a nod to it too.
Like,
Okay.
this has been a lot of fun, and not just the chance to hang out with you two, but just talking about this stuff. And putting it out there for other people to hear. This has just been a blast.
It's honestly hard to find other people that could really get into a conversation with you.
Yeah.
You're always that guy like, I don't know if I want to mention that. He might be interested. No, I'm better not say anything.
Right, yeah. It's because we grew up in the 80s and 90s where it was all shunned. All right, well, awesome. Thanks, Paul. How about you, Eric?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
He stole your thunder.
This time I'm going to repeat it anyway.
Yeah.
You missed it, Paul, on last episode. So you said goodbye to the Yodelorian, so I had to do goodbye to the I don't know, arbitrarily humping dog or whatever I said.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Because you stole mine. Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, so I'm thankful for this podcast. It's been great talking to you guys about the most random shit ever. I actually have fun throwing together these outlines and stuff. And yeah, it's been awesome. Of course, I'm grateful for family, and I won't give that up. Even though I'm not going back to Illinois this year, I do miss them. Yeah, and all the geek content we get, it has been blowing up with
nonstop.
Yeah, so many things for us to watch. So many things. Every night, I'm on Netflix or Amazon Prime or Disney Plus or something watching a new show.
Yeah.
And before you used to have to wait weeks for anything useful, and before that, you had to wait years for anything useful.
Right.
So I'm thankful for that uptick in all the entertainment as well.
Hell yeah! All right, so yes,
and if not for this podcast, I would never have heard of The Room, and I never would have heard of Birdemic.
Oh, that is
you are quite
definitely
welcome.
something to be thankful for.
I'm thankful for Tommy Wiseau.
Can you hear my audible eye roll emoji?
Yes.
It's a thing though. It's going to become a bit that we're known for. You realize that, right? We're just gonna have to suffer for the art, you know.
Thankful for Tommy Wiseau and John Nguyen.
Oh yes, yeah. So yeah, on that note, I mean, yeah, I am especially thankful for you guys.
James Nguyen. It was James. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm thankful for you guys joining on here and help me create this. Because, as I've explained before, this was what I envisioned, and I've been trying to put this thing together for well over a year. And if it wasn't for you two coming along and being the two pieces to the puzzle that were missing, I'd never get it going. So I'm really thankful for you guys, being willing to put up with my dumb ass and hang out and have all the fun conversations we have. It's been a lot of laughs, and it's one of those things that I think that everybody needs in their life is just a break away from everything and just be able to chill out and have fun. And this is something I actually look forward to, no matter how tired I might be on a Wednesday. I love doing this, and so I really, really appreciate the fact that you guys were willing to take a chance and hang out with me. And outside of that, I think what we're all thankful for is what we just talked about for 2 episodes of The Mandalorian. Which makes me excited for the next topic on our list, and that would be The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, all right. We're going to hop into it.
We're going to jump right into it. We are in the Geekly Weekly.
20 minutes later, we're into the Geekly Weekly.
And for those of you playing at home, Paul, that would be TROS.
I can't believe I didn't get that.
That was so funny.
What is that? And I'm like, and I started to sound it out like the something, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to ask.
Oh, it was so great.
I'm a
yeah,
total dumbass. Like, I should have known that.
So for you guys listening,
it's the Red October sequel. That's what we're excited
God.
about.
Wow, you pulled that one out of your ass. That was amazing. For those of you listening in our private text back and forth, I said something about TROS. Something coming up, a tie-in to TROS, and finally, after a few minutes, Paul was like, TROS ? And I'm like, The Rise of Skywalker, you're fired. You're done. And he's like, yeah, I really should have known that. So, yeah, so anyway, Rise of Skywalker, I will say, leading into this, and then Eric, I'm going to let you run.
All right.
We know how I felt about Last Jedi. And I still feel about Last Jedi. It kind of soured me on this movie coming up, right? And I was praying for JJ to do something. But with The Mandalorian doing what it's doing right now, I'm kind of like, if they can all kind of like, if they're all learning, if this is a path we're all going on together, I actually have hope for this fucking movie. And I'm like, I'm just crossing my fingers. And again, I will settle for very good, almost great. I'll settle for that after the turmoil that we've been in. But I think we've got a chance to hit great.
So we'll talk about Rian Johnson shortly.
We don't have to, but
no, we're going to. We have a movie on here that would normally never be on our list, but it's going to be because Rian Johnson is the writer and director. But I forgot where I was going. I said his name and no. So it was.
Damn it, Rian Johnson! You destroyed something else.
Yeah, you ruin everything. You fucking asshole. But so what I was going to say is, it would be wonderful if J.J. Abrams could learn a lesson from The Mandalorian. Unfortunately, they finished all their reshoots before this ever aired, and they realized how successful it was going to be. Yeah. Which, by the way, from an impression standpoint, sort of there's a let's just call them a consulting firm that does media impression kind of stuff, right?
Sure.
And they put out a report today that said Mandalorian is like the most demanded streaming show ever. It surpassed Stranger Things.
Yeah, and I have not been this excited for a show since like season 1 and 2 of Game of Thrones.
Okay, but so the way that they do this is like some really bizarre thing where they take like number of people and then like how much they want to see the episode and how much they talk about it. It's like this whole matrix, right? Because Netflix has 120 million subscribers or whatever, 150 million subscribers, I think now.
Sure.
And Disney only has 10 million. So there's no way Mandalorian could ever exceed.
Yeah, but Disney Plus got 10 million in like a day.
I know, but there's no way that Disney at this point could ever exceed Netflix. Fuck, Disney couldn't exceed Disney.
Give it 5 seconds. They're going to own Netflix too. Yeah, probably. You're going to be right.
But so there's no way Disney Plus could ever exceed Netflix at this point in viewership.
Not right now,
so they do some other like matrixed weighted thing where they say how much do people talk about it, how highly do they rate the episodes.
Kind of like the law of inflation for movie tickets.
And that's where they put Mandalorian. Said Mandalorian overtook Stranger Things. It set records or whatever. And I don't know what it means. It's too hard to discern. But it was like one of those things you read and you say, yeah, no shit.
Right? Yeah,
I've watched it. I've watched every episode at least twice.
Yeah, you know what? I love Stranger Things. Love it. But holy shit, this is on a totally new level.
Yeah, it really is. And a huge part of it is just what Favreau has done with the throwing in the Easter eggs and the nods to fans. And
yeah,
when I rolled through the episode 1 for the 4th time, and this time on slow motion so I could try to catch things, seriously, every
so he said,
yeah,
I have spoken.
I have spoken. But every couple minutes there was something new, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm going to be here all night. It took me like 5 hours to write out the list of all the Easter eggs.
Right.
Because it's like, oh, this happened at 45 seconds. Oh, this happened at 1 minute and 12 seconds. Oh, this happened at 2:05. Oh my God. There was one point where I was like, it's only been 13 seconds and we have another Easter egg.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, they really did it right. So anyway, where are we going to be at? Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker. So I don't think J.J. Abrams unfortunately got to learn any lessons before this will get put in theaters. It's too late. Yeah. But he did announce today, I think it was today, that all the final edits, cuts, etc. have been finished. They apparently listened to all of us cry about our bladders, and they've cut the runtime on
to
the Rise of Skywalker
yeah.
to 141 minutes. So it was originally 155. It would have been the longest Star Wars feature film ever. And now it's going to be 141. So Rian Johnson's Last Jedi will still hold the title of the longest ever at 2.5 hours 2 hours and 32 minutes, I think it was. Yeah.
Okay.
They also dropped a 30-second movie clip. Did you guys watch that?
No, I skipped it.
Oh, so this is a totally
and I've heard about it nonstop. But go ahead. I'm going to let you.
Okay, so normally
we haven't spoken about it.
Normally they do teaser trailers, and you get a few seconds here and a few seconds there, and the whole thing combines to maybe 60 seconds if you're lucky. 30 seconds probably, right? This one is an uncut 30-second clip.
If my wife is lucky.
The movie. Yeah, if your wife is lucky. Uncut 30 seconds from the movie, so they show a whole scene without doing any chops or blocks or anything. And what it is a desert chase scene. And it's super Mad Max. If you guys haven't watched this, watch it. It's crazy weird. It's like the stormtroopers are on these little hover bikes, I guess you'd call them. And then at some point, the hover bikes flip up and they like catapult the back stormtrooper off of it. And then the back stormtrooper has a jetpack on that he launches. So
okay, fuck. Now I gotta watch this. I've been avoiding it. Damn.
Oh, you have to watch it. It's really interesting. Yeah. Oh, I can't believe neither of you watched it.
No. Fuck.
All right. Well, the link's in the outline. Go ahead and go there and click it. So yeah. So it's very Mad Max.
We'll post the link on our website.
I posted this one on the website already. I did it yesterday. I think.
Hey, there you go. Go to the website. And check it out.
Go to the website. So anyway,
fuck's sake, let us know what you think.
These stormtroopers get basically catapulted off the back of these hover bikes, and then they turn on their jetpacks and they're flying. And so Finn and C-3PO and Rey and Poe,
yeah,
I think that's everybody, are on a skiff together.
Yeah,
and C-3PO says like, "Are they flying?" And Finn's like, "They fly now?" And Poe's like, "They fly now." And of course, we've seen jet troopers before, but they wouldn't have.
Sure,
from their timeline, they wouldn't have never. They would have never seen that.
Because I've heard a few people like on one hand complaining about that little bit, and then on the other hand, someone saying it felt like a perfect little bit of humor in that moment. So and
it's not interesting banter, but it works fine for Star Wars.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the people bitching, saying like, "Oh, well, you've seen these jet troopers before," they haven't.
You have,
Rey was 19 when this shit started. She hadn't seen anything.
Yeah.
She doesn't know shit about stormtroopers. And Finn was in the Empire for all of 60 seconds before he defected, so he didn't see him.
Well, as far as we know, I mean, he was there from when he was a kid, though.
He said he was a janitor, like.
Well, yeah, he was a janitor. Well, so yeah, granted, okay, maybe
I'm sure he didn't. He
okay,
might not
from
have
military
seen
training, they probably don't know everything they do because I don't know everything everybody does in the military.
Oh, shit,
either,
me
so,
neither.
Sure.
But anyway, it's believable that they don't know this. That there were jet troopers before, and it's funny. I mean, it's mildly funny. And it's funny even more so because they stole it out of Mad Max with the guys catapulting off the back. It's ridiculous. So anyway, that'll be in theaters December 20th. I guess go see it. We'll do a
Side
review
note,
on it.
Who's got tickets?
I haven't bought my tickets yet.
I know.
Me.
But I do know. You do?
I do.
Okay. When are you going? Opening night?
Yes.
Fuck. Okay. I know Cinemark's got them
night.
that Friday and Saturday, so I might have, because I'm definitely going XD.
Oh, so Sinopolis had openings when I looked last. I'm sure
You
I'll
and
find it.
Sinopolis, man.
No.
I want to love that place because it's right down the street.
They lowered the price to $13 for a ticket now.
Oh, yeah? Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They lowered it from 17 to 13.
Well, tell Heather. Maybe she'll listen to you. She don't listen to me.
I'm not saying you should go there and have dinner or drinks or anything.
Yeah.
No,
But,
actually, I
free
am
popcorn.
saying that. You should do that. That's why I love it so much.
I just
There's
can't.
nothing better than going to a movie theater and have somebody deliver popcorn and beer to you. I don't know. It's just special.
True. Yeah. All right. Yeah, you got a point.
Anyway, yeah. So there was openings when I was looking last for the not the 20th, but the day after.
All right.
So I'll see it. We're going to do
So
the
by
review. We'll probably do the
Monday,
review like the end of the month, so we
Yeah.
won't do it immediately after it pops out. But
Well, it pops out on a Thursday. We'll figure out our schedule and
Yeah.
we'll do it like the very next episode because damn.
don't worry, I'll get a
You
seat.
think our
That's all I'm
shit?
saying.
You
I'll
think
get a
our
seat.
shit is popping now with Facebook and whatever else? When we review that movie, it'll be bigger.
Okay,
All right. So next,
That's it. So next is staying on the Star Wars theme, Kenobi series. The only reason I want to bring this up is Deborah Chow did a interview with New York Times recently. She didn't release a lot of info, but I just wanted to recap real quick what we know about Kenobi series. So it's going to be on Disney Plus, obviously. Ewan McGregor is 100% coming back to reprise his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi. The series will be 6 one-hour episodes. We have no idea if there's going to be more than one season or if it's going to be like a fixed 6 episodes and that's it. And honestly, her comments on the interview make it seem like it might be a 6 episode. So it will definitely take place between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. 100%.
which is what we expected.
Yep. And then it will take place at least primarily on Tatooine.
Also, what we expected.
And so it will start shooting summer of next year. That's it. That's the only 100% confirmed things we have. So the
I'm
release,
looking forward to this.
Yeah, I am too. I was, until The Mandalorian released, more excited about this than I was about Mandalorian. Although my tune has changed now and I can wait for this. But
Yeah, I know. Yeah, The Mandalorian is satiating my thirst.
and then some. Yeah.
How about you, Paul? Paul?
Hold on, sorry, I had you on mute.
Oh, okay.
He did what to us?
He had us on mute.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
He dared muted us.
The dogs were going crazy, so I had to mute you for a second. You didn't want to hear it. You didn't want to hear all that.
One word for
all
it.
the background splurge sounds. We definitely want to hear that.
There's a lot of groaning and some panting. Some of it was the dogs.
So good.
The dog. Will you respect me in the morning? Anyway, Obi-Wan, what do you think?
So I wonder if this is because this was rumored to be a film.
It originally was planned to be a film, and then after they decided to do the Disney plunge
Solo bombed.
Yep.
Plunge.
I thought they were just going to pull the plug
Disney
on this. So
Plus
I wonder
launch.
if they had,
It's a plunge.
Yeah. So if they had Ewan McGregor on some sort of contract to do the movie, they're like, well, let's just shoot it we'll just shoot a bunch of stuff and do it as a series.
Yeah, and to me, it would work better as a series.
Yeah, I agree.
Just Mandalorian speaking for itself. I mean,
so before we get off this, and we do have to move on pretty quick, or these people are going to have to listen to 2 hours of this shit. But
yeah, no shit.
in the interview, she was talking specifically about how complex it was to sort of fit the story in this whole time period into the series, and that makes me think that 6 episodes is all we're going to get.
Yeah, I think so. And you know, even still, for the fact of where they're putting it within the lore, I'm fine with that too, as long as, like I said before, we get that battle between him and Darth Vader, where he learns that Anakin is actually Darth Vader.
Well, so the other piece of this that I've seen on our social media stuff is people are wondering if he is going to have to fight Maul, because before the Disney buyout, and I guess even after,
But they fight in the cartoon. Okay.
Maul didn't die when he fell down that shaft.
Right.
He lost his legs, obviously, because he was cut in half at the belly button. He should have lost
As
his
you
fucking
would.
intestines too. But anyway, he apparently survived on hate and eating garbage or something. And then he comes back and he gets robotic spider legs and
Yeah, and then eventually they're just like regular robot legs.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they fight in Rebels, and
Is it Rebels?
it's a fight to the end.
So people,
do they fight again?
People
That'd be
are
cool.
asking on social
bring back
media,
Ray
like,
Park for that'd be cool.
Is this going to happen? Will Maul be in the Kenobi series? But it's only 6 one-hour episodes. That's not very long to tell a story.
I really think this is going to be him looking after Luke and eventually something with Vader.
He has to have a real challenge, though. And if it's not Vader, it's got to be Maul. And if it's not
Vader.
Maul...
One of the biggest empty pieces there is him leaving him on Mustafar to die Anakin becoming Vader, and then them seeing each other again in New Hope and acting like they know each other. And obviously, he already knows Vader is Anakin. That's the missing piece.
Yep.
So they gotta show that.
And so I already said her name, but I'm going to say it again. Deborah Chow, who did episode 3 of The Mandalorian, which is definitely the best Mandalorian episode so far, is going to do this entire Kenobi series. So hopefully, with guidance from Favreau, this will be great.
All right. The only other thing I want to say about Star Wars, and we can probably get into this more next week, but just because it's relevant now. Did you see there was something where they were talking about Rise of Skywalker and basically talking to Kathleen Kennedy because we were talking about like the rumors and everything.
Uh-huh.
This is what I want to get into more later with the when we do the rumors with Paul next week. But yeah, let's drop it down. There was an interview with Kathleen Kennedy and she said something like basically they were like talking about how difficult it was to write the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah,
and she was like, well, it's very, very difficult because there's no source material, no comic books, whatever. She was trying to take a dig at, like, the Marvel side of the house or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's become a meme now.
Yeah.
Because, like, they say that quote, and then they show somebody, like, pointing at all of the comics and novels and shit. Like, yeah, granted, it's not canon anymore, but fuck you. You can pull from any of that and just make it your own.
Yeah, and there's a huge number of stories there that they can borrow from.
Just the audacity to say something like that. Just kind of, I'm twofold on her. Like as far like she seems like she's kind of clueless sometimes, but then at the same time she's also kept Star Wars going. So I'm not gonna hate on her too much, but God, can you get a clue before you open your mouth? You're supposed to be one of the people in charge. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that makes me want to drop 2 more things here that are Star Wars and are not on the list, and I'm really sorry to do this. I'll do it quick, I promise.
Okay.
One, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, the Rise of Resistance ride we've all been waiting for.
It's coming.
December 5th, it will officially open here in Florida. January 17th, it will open in the California Disneyland.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go somehow.
Yeah, I heard there was gonna be. No, I heard there was gonna. Yeah, that may be true. I heard there was gonna be a special thing for pass holders to let us go, sort of unadulterated by the rest of the crowds. I don't know when that is. I haven't actually seen anything official. If they send it to me and I can invite a guest, I'll bring you along. But I don't know what's happening.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to say is there was an announcement from Lucasfilm. You remember we talked before about D.B. Weiss and David Benioff.
Benioff and Weiss. Game of Thrones.
They dropped out.
They
dropped out of doing Star Wars, but Lucasfilm made an announcement saying they have somebody to replace them, and they are going to do another trilogy, and they've already picked a director, and they're going to announce it officially in January. So we have to wait to see who's the writer, who's the director, and what is the trilogy going to be about. But that's it. They made an official commitment. They're going to make an announcement in January. So that's how long we have to wait. It's really not that long.
Adam Sandler.
All right.
I'm sorry. Oh my God. Don't ever speak that into existence again.
All right. So we'll move off Star Wars. Next one I had on the list was Game of Thrones. So
yeah, I texted you this earlier.
Yeah, so the House of Dragon, no plural, I put it wrong on the sheet here. House of Dragon spin-off series for the Game of Thrones. It was officially greenlit by HBO. They purchased the options for it. It will be based on George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood novel, if you guys have read that. I have not.
No.
This takes place apparently 300 years before the original Game of Thrones series. And the focus is going to be entirely on House Targaryen. And so, apparently the Fire and Blood book covers a long span of time, and there's a bunch of stories you can tell in there. So we don't know what specific piece, or if they're going to try to span the whole thing. Miguel... Oh, I'm going to fuck that up.
Yeah, but there's still got to be some type of tie-in to Starks and whatever else.
Yeah, well, Targaryens will be the big tie-in.
Yeah.
So what George R.R. Martin said when he was, I think it was an interview, or maybe it was a tweet. It doesn't really matter. He said there will be dragons, right? So it's definitely a House Targaryen. They're going to be dragon riders.
300 years before.
Yeah.
So none of the people in Game of Thrones, they all thought they were myths. Yeah.
So one of the original Game of Thrones directors will be on this spinoff, and then they also brought in Ryan Condal, who did the Colony series, as the showrunners, and then George R.R. Martin is helping Condal do the screenplay writing. So hopefully with the original writer doing the screenplay, you'll get something not D&D like, and not D.B. Weiss and David Benoff like for episode 8, because when they had book material to go off of, we all thought it was great. Yeah. And when they had to deviate from the book, we all whined about it.
It suffered, yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully that won't be the case here. This is going to be entirely based on the book, and Martin himself will be helping with screenplay.
That'd be cool.
Also, Game of Thrones news. Season 8 is going to be released on DVD and Blu-ray officially on December 3rd. And they will also be releasing the full 8 series box sets or whatever. I don't know what the price point is. It's like $150 or something ludicrous. But if you want all 8 seasons, you will be able to buy it right before Christmas. And then George Martin also made an announcement that his next book, The Winds of Winter, is going to be coming out sometime soon. He said he's almost done with it, and he's going to finish it before he starts on the script for House of Dragon. So,
all right, so sometime next year, maybe.
Yeah, late next year, probably August or later. But yeah.
Paul, any input on Game of Thrones?
No, I'm so far behind on watching Game of Thrones. This may be the place I'll catch up. So that if set 300 years before Game of Thrones, I'm like, oh great, I'm not behind.
Yeah, you're far ahead of them, that's for sure.
That's right.
The next thing we had then was Watchmen on HBO. The 6th episode dropped on Sunday. It is a 9-episode series, so 3 more episodes left in the season. They will be dropped on December 1st, 8th, and 15th. It is definitely interesting at this point. We'll have to figure out how to finish it. Maybe we'll do a review on it. Who knows? It's not boys kind of interesting. It's very different. It has a lot of throwbacks to like 60s era racial tension stuff, hangings, lynchings, I guess. It's different. It's very different than I would have expected, but it's not bad either. It's definitely interesting. So we'll see. Maybe we'll do an episode on that. Next thing we had was the Walking Dead, the spinoff series. So they released a teaser trailer for that on November 25th. Was that yesterday? So we'll link that on the website so you guys can see it. I don't think I've done it yet. They did reveal the title of the show, and it's going to be called The Walking Dead World Beyond. So World Beyond is the subtitle there. And what the hell does that mean? So they've explained this. Great. So this story, this spinoff is going to follow the story of a group of teens who've been raised in the zombie, post-apocalypse world. And they don't know anything about how the world was before the apocalypse, right? So this is all post-apocalypse. These teens don't know shit. This is how they grew up. And so that's the take they're going to do on it. This will premiere on AMC in the spring of next year, 2020. So that could be interesting. We'll see. I'm a little worried about the fact that the show is focused entirely on teens. I'm not sure that they're going to be able to get the sort of audiences they were before. I mean, it's still going to be gruesome, obviously. It's AMC and it's Walking Dead, but I worry a little that they're going towards that teen, what is that, young teen or whatever genre, and the crossover between young teen and people that like gory horror might be a really small group. But I guess we'll see. I don't know shit. I just have opinions. You have any thoughts on it, Paul?
I think that's an interesting take of having teens that don't know anything about the world pre-zombie apocalypse, because so much of the angst and the stuff of the current characters is the world that is no more, right? Like, and so I wonder if the teens are more barbaric and, just sort of down and dirty's the wrong word to use with teens, but
yeah.
Right, like
yeah.
If this is all you know, then surviving is just all you know, right? And there's no sort of higher level thought or thoughts of missing school or any of that stuff. They don't know any of that.
Yeah, and there's a bit of that sort of hinted towards in the trailer, because you see the teens in a group together with no adults at all in that trailer. So you think, oh well, they've sort of formed their own little group. and they're doing their own little thing. And I'm not even sure if there's going to be adults in it at all. Like if their parents are around, maybe they're dead. I don't know. Maybe they've split off. Again, it's just a teaser trailer, and it's only 30 seconds long, so who knows? But you have thoughts on the Walking Dead spinoff with the teens, John?
Well, the only thing I heard was that it was set with kids that grew up in this area or in this timeline. So it would make sense that they would be like from Alexandria and they want to maybe trek out on their own or something like that, you know? Like we're old enough to do our own thing, kind of, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe. I guess we'll see.
It looks cool.
We'll see. We got a whole...
I'm excited. I love zombies.
We got a whole 6 months before that potentially pops up to watch, so...
We all know how much I love zombies, so...
Maybe we'll start with that instead of trying to watch 97 episodes of the original Walking Dead to catch up on.
For our next review show? Yeah.
So,
because I'm the only one watching the... Go ahead.
Yeah. Next is what's in theaters. This is, I guess, technically still in theaters, and I wouldn't bring it up except that it broke a record, which I mentioned on the website, we mentioned on Facebook, but Joker. It became the first R-rated film in history to break the $1 billion mark in the box office. And for what it's worth, Deadpool 2, which held the previous record, was $785 million. So
which was quite impressive.
It was, but this isn't just, beat it a little bit. It's like blew it out of the fucking water. It's crazy. And it's not even done yet in the box office.
No.
And I don't think it's going to make a whole bunch more, but I mean, by the end of it, it might be 1.1, 1.2 billion. I mean, it's huge compared to the last record.
And again, we go right back to how long do you ignore that much money? You don't.
Yeah, you don't.
And the fear is DC always listens to the wrong side of the money, or their follow-ups are incorrect, much like Harley, et cetera, whatever. Again,
well, we've already been through there's going to be a sequel. Oh no, there isn't.
Well, yeah. Right? Yeah. Oh yeah, that happened quick. Right after they hit $1 billion mark, it was the article that I shared, and I said, actually, the article I shared with you guys in our text, I said, wow, that took longer than I expected, and it was Todd Phillips talking about Joker 2, and blah blah blah, whatever. And because prior to that, I had even said I read or heard that Joaquin had filmed some stuff, just kind of playing around on the set, making it seem like, there could be there's more stuff to this character. We could do other stuff with him, whatever. And that's possible. I mean, that could have happened too, but we come to find out literally within, I think, an hour of me texting you guys, right? It was another, no, never mind. That was false, completely false. I think Deadline jumped on there and was like, yeah, these rumors are not true at all. So, yeah, there's that. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Joker? I mean, again, for a movie that I didn't need and really didn't want, again, I said I appreciated it and I loved it. It's a great movie. I just have a big fear that they're going to try to put him into the DCU as Joker. And yeah, what do you think, Paul?
I agree. I think DC listens to the wrong side of it. This movie's that's it. It was a one-shot possible origin story of the Joker. We're not even we talked about when we reviewed it. Not even sure that all of it was real. May all have been in his head. It doesn't need a sequel, and I don't even know how you would do a sequel.
Right.
I don't think this Joker needs to be in. To whatever extent there's going to be a DC EU. There may be a Batman EU and a Superman EU and a Aquaman EU, but I don't think they're going to get them together for a Justice League 2. So to the extent that there is a DC EU, this Joker just doesn't need to be there. Now they can't bring back the Jared Leto sort of thug gangster Joker because that one sucked.
Oh, please, for the love of God, no. Right. Now, on that note, one thing I thought of, and just, because you know how I kind of like run down the creative side of things, I thought of a way. I did say I would love to see like Joaquin Phoenix do Joker in the DCU against like the current Batman or whoever the Batman is going to be, whatever, but just not attached to this Arthur Fleck thing because I didn't want the origin thing. What I thought of, I developed a way that it could still work, but it would kind of ruin this movie a little bit for some people, depending on how they did it. If you remember, spoiler alert for Joker, you've all seen it because holy shit, it's made all the money. At the very end, when he's in the asylum and he's talking, right, and he does that whole, it's one of the few times you actually see him genuinely laugh. And the psychiatrist asks him, "What are you laughing about?" He says, "Oh, I thought of a joke." And she says, "Tell it to me." And he says, "You wouldn't get it." And then it cuts to him running down the hallway with blood in his shoes because he's killed her, right? What if that moment is in the DCEU and that is Joker and Arthur Fleck and everything in the movie is just part of his psychosis and doesn't really exist? So you don't really get, maybe it's one of his many origins you've seen in other movies. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if they do a play like that, but they'd have to do it where it means something, because otherwise you really do ruin this movie. But you could play it where, because they played with that whole what's real and what's not real, you could extend that into the DCU with him so that you get Joaquin Phoenix playing Joker in a current DCU, but playing like the real Joker. Then you only have to do something where like you actually get him to have that permanent grin. And that could be like the accident with Batman. Because then you can do where, all right, he's maybe now Batman, he's still his same age, and Batman is actually full grown, you know what I mean? So like he's 30, he's Batman, whatever. So now you kill that age gap that was a problem where he'd be beating the hell out of a 70-year-old Joker, whatever.
Right.
Something like that.
You mean
could
Jack
do
Nicholson?
Yeah, right. Well, yes, true. Touche, bitch. Touche. But yeah, but you know what I mean? Like you could play with it to where I would be actually almost excited for it. But there's a big danger of ruining this movie for everybody else.
So here's what I would do. Not that my opinion matters at all, but Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, we talked about this before. He really can't be the genius criminal mastermind that the Joker is.
Right.
And so, also, Joaquin Phoenix will be expensive at this point because it was $1 billion fucking movie.
True.
I think the best thing they could do at this point to sort of allow a continuity not to be broken and introduce a Joker villain into the new Batman is to just let somebody else use his persona, in a sense, to influence the Joker they become. So it's a new character. Yeah. They borrow from this guy, Arthur Fleck.
Borrow from that, and borrow from
the
Heath
shit they
Ledger.
saw on the TV. And then they could marry the old Joker that we liked, like the old Hamill Joker. They could marry that with what's happened with Arthur Fleck and to say, okay, this isn't Arthur Fleck, but it's a new guy. He's smarter. He's got an obsession with Fleck and what he saw on TV, and this will be
So it goes down
Batman's
that other
new
theory
Fleck.
that's out there that he's really an influence to the proper Joker.
I think it's the better way to do it, personally.
It would be.
Yeah,
I really like Joaquin Phoenix.
You can show this new Joker watching that scene where he shoots Murray over and over and over again. Like,
fuck, the guy could be watching it and laughing about it, right? I mean,
yeah. You can have a lot of fun.
Obsessively rewinding it, watching it again.
Who do you get to play him? Real quick, and then we got to jump on.
Oh, I don't even know. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna pick the wrong guy.
Oh, the Lautner kid from Twilight. Anyway, okay, yeah. Shit.
We'll think about that and talk
we'll,
about
We'll move on to Batman later on. Yeah.
All right.
We'll jump into that. We'll delve into it more. But yeah, Joker killed it, and they keep going.
All right, we'll try to speed it up because we're only halfway through the outline at an hour in. Okay, so theaters. We're talking about theaters. Midway came out November 8th. I'll skim over this quick. The only reason I haven't
seen it. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it.
I want to see it.
I haven't seen it. And Saving Private Ryan was one of my favorite movies of all time. Seriously,
yeah, this
I've watched
gave me that vibe.
100 times.
I want to watch it.
It definitely has that vibe to it. Now, of course, about the Battle of Midway, so it's more ships and air than it is ground assault. But
which is why I want to watch it. But go
the
ahead.
opening weekend exceeded expectations by a long shot. It's 90 million worldwide at this point. It's only been 2 weeks or whatever. And then the critic reviews were really mixed, but the actual moviegoer reviews are pretty positive. You know, it's 80-something% or whatever right now. So maybe worth seeing.
I want to watch it, but I don't think I'm going to get to the theater to see it because there's still so much more that I wanted to see before this.
Yeah, I know. There's so many other things.
Which is, you know what, that is one of the other episodes as we get into what we're going to do later. We got to write that down, what we've missed.
Oh, yeah, what have you missed?
Yeah. So go ahead. All right, go.
So next one.
Paul, you looking for Midway?
I'd love to see it. I don't know that it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think we'll probably all be watching this on TV or streaming services before we'll see it in the theater. Just we have too much to do. November 15th, Charlie's Angels dropped. Why the hell do I bring this up? Because it fucking bombed, and that's not the only reason.
Because there's for some demented reason I'm in love with Kristen Stewart.
Well, yeah, that is part of it. And you've got Elizabeth Banks directing, who, of course, we all love. We all love The Boys.
It bombed, but there were 2 sources that I listened to that actually, like, I would have thought wouldn't have liked it, and they were like, it wasn't bad. And they said Kristen Stewart was the best part of the whole damn thing.
So Elizabeth Banks
I still kind of want to watch
made this point that people who actually see it like the movie. And if you go look at the, say, Rotten Tomatoes user reviews, there's some support for that because it is way higher on the user reviews than it is on the critic reviews.
Yep, but then she does the other thing that I love to pick on.
So
go ahead.
2 pieces to this. So it had an opening weekend of 8.6 million. I mean, that's nothing in 2019, you know?
No.
The 2000 Charlie's Angels reboot had 40 million on the opening weekend. This one has 8.6, right?
Domestic.
Yeah, domestic. And it is 43 worldwide as
Which
of
is
yesterday.
5 under budget.
Right, exactly. The budget was 48 million.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're not going to lose money, but they're not going to make what they think they're going to make.
No.
And they actually had targeted $100 million for overseas promotion. And as soon as this happened, they announced they were going to cut that back to $50 million on overseas promotion. But even that, overseas, please don't think I'm America-centric and I don't think the rest of the world exists. But when it comes to movie spending...
I am, not him.
Our domestic spending is not insignificant compared to the world. It's not like we're proportional. We spend way more on movies than the rest of the world.
Yeah, and we make better movies. Sorry.
So,
and you all watch them.
So if you were to look just at this movie, I mean, half of it is domestic revenues and the other half is the rest of the world.
Side note, the sponsors just left.
Well, they weren't the same sponsors that Elizabeth Bank and Sony hired.
Yeah, because anyway. So what did she blame?
Yeah. So this is the thing we wanted to get to, and I'm going too slowly when I promised to go fast. But, so Elizabeth Banks keeps blaming this on everything else except for script writing and directing, and none of that can be the problem, right? She first said, oh, well, this is an issue with the streaming movie culture, right? Everybody's waiting for this to come out streaming, and I'll probably watch it streaming late at night.
All right, wait. So will I, but for different reasons.
No, but I would never go watch this in the theater. I wasn't excited about the 2000 version. I'm certainly not excited about this one.
Yes,
okay?
Yes. This is one of those where I was like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Even though there was that part of me that was like, I mean, I'll check it out at some point.
Okay. And
if it's on, I'll leave it on to see what it is.
And then her next blame game was, okay, you fucking men, this is all about sexism. Men don't want to see like women in action movies with female-led characters in action movies or whatever. Like, that's not true. I love every Alien movie. I watch the shit out of Sigourney Weaver.
Terminator.
Sure. I mean,
those
are the only Terminators I watched were the first 2.
I am dying for this Black Widow movie. So if you want to go more current, fuck you.
Yeah.
Make a movie people want to watch.
It's a good argument.
The Hunger Games.
Sure.
Hunger Games.
So what's the next thing she says? Oh, well, those are all based on books and comics or whatever, and that's a man's genre. Like, at this point, you should just stop talking because I don't know what you're after anymore.
You ready? The men that you're talking about grew up watching the Charlie's Angels shit and liking it.
That is probably the most hilarious part about the whole thing.
So the ones you're bashing are the ones that
Yeah.
would have watched it had you made a good movie.
The original Charlie's Angels was man-dominated culture. It was made for them.
And for those of you saying, or like for Elizabeth Banks, who would say, like, you know, John, you're bashing my movie, you haven't seen it. You're fucking damn right. I'm gonna give you a movie review for something I haven't seen yet.
Well, and the 2000 Charlie's Angels made like over $200 and something million.
Oh yeah, worldwide, yeah, it did.
Right. So that's also demonstrably not true.
Yeah, it is exactly.
Hey, you know, just do it right.
So then she pivoted yet again yesterday and said, "Oh, well,
okay, I missed this one.
It was Sony's failed promotion and marketing that made this movie unsuccessful." Now, I will actually give her this, not as a full reason for it to be a failure, but we talked about this trailer when we were doing What's Coming Up.
Yep.
Literally the last time I think I remember seeing anything about it. I never saw any follow-up trailers. I didn't see any mover poster art. None of it. So
no.
I think there was some promotion failure here, at least within the United States.
Yeah, their promotions were abysmal. I caught it just because I would see it, and I knew what it was.
Even when it came out, we didn't realize it was out until like 3 days later.
Right, yeah. So you failed miserably. But you know what? It's something that's, what's the word I'm looking for? Systematic in society, or it's an epidemic within society. So find that word for me. Whatever it is, it's a part of what's going on in today's culture. Blame everything else but your own problems. Never take any kind of responsibility for your own faults.
Yeah.
Because if you look now, again, like what we said right before in the beginning of this episode, I have turned a little more positive, probably about 15% more positive toward Rise of Skywalker, right? I'm looking forward to this movie based on what I've been watching recently, right? I'm ramped up for Star Wars. But in recent interviews, it seems like Kathleen Kennedy has been talking about, like, well, first of all, I've seen a lot of rumors that the sneak peeks and shit have been out there, right? Mm-hmm. Like the initial copies are out, and people hate them and blah, blah, blah. And there's a whole bunch of shit out there. People are all jumping on this thing, saying like all these bad things, and there's one decent copy and blah, 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 whatever. And most recently that I've read was Kathleen Kennedy was talking about how they had been speaking with George Lucas and getting his input and this and that, whatever. Almost seemed like she was setting it up to go, well, we spoke to Lucas, and he's the one that, you know what I mean? Like she's setting up the fall guy already. And I'm like, you've owned this for like years now. Shut up, you know.
To be
so
fair,
it's just across the board a problem with society now. Is you just blame everybody else for your own failures.
There is a lot of that. But to be fair with that particular point, it's not like the studio made that announcement. We're picking that up from third party.
Sure, yeah.
So we don't know if it's really true. Lucas could have been sitting at home taking a nap and had nothing to do with this.
Right.
And we wouldn't.
I'm just saying, like, what I heard was someone was talking about Kathleen Kennedy specifically said, we've been consulting with George Lucas, blah, blah, blah. Again, did I actually read the interview when it was like a concrete interview? No. But going on rumor mill, everyone's blaming everybody else for their own fucking problems, which has been going on for about 10 years now.
Yeah, none of us are going to fall for that because we're going to call things like we see them, and if it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good, and there's not much else to it.
All right, cool. So we're all on the same page. We're still going to check this thing out late at night when apparently our wives are asleep.
When our wives are asleep,
in Alabama. With the dogs cuddling nearby.
When the dogs are asleep.
When the dogs are asleep.
So next thing was November 22nd, just a few days ago here. Frozen 2 dropped. I think John was the only one of the group to see it so far.
So far. I know Paul is going with the family. Your family's going to see it. You need to go see this movie.
I do not have a ticket.
You need to go buy one. I'm going to say this much, because we did say we're going to save this for, next week when you come back, Paul?
Yeah, the December 3rd or whatever.
Yeah. So we'll throw some in the Geekly Weekly for next week. We'll throw in spoiler-free and spoiler review for Frozen 2. I will say one. I think you've already got the box office, but There is one scene in here that, again, everyone knows Heather's still remotely recovering from surgery, right? Her core has been cut open, blah, blah, blah. There's one scene in this movie that she laughed so hard, she was like, I don't know if I still have stitches in there, but I think I'm going to rupture one. It was priceless, and you're going to know exactly which one I'm talking about, Paul. There's a moment in there where you're just like, am I watching what I think I'm watching? And you're going to be like, oh my God, yes I am. It's going to be epic. I think it might, there's a slim chance it may go over Eric's head if he watches it, just because of an age thing. But you'll know what I'm talking about when you say it. Okay. And we're going to talk about it next week. It's going to be epic. And, of course, the rest of my family is non-stop listening to this damn soundtrack on Amazon Music. So, this episode of What If Geeks has been brought to you by Amazon Music.
And Disney Plus.
And apparently, whatever the fuck he's grating that dog against.
Subscribe both. Oh, that's paultakesdogpornpictures.com. All right, so Frozen, you mentioned box office. I hadn't even said it yet, but it way exceeded expectations. It did $130 million domestic on the opening weekend
in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and by day 3, it had broke $350 million. So we talked a minute ago about Joker setting a record at being $1 billion after a month plus in theaters. This is at $350 million on the third day.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's Disney, and it's one of the most successful Disney franchises that's ever been launched, but damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, and we'll give everything else next week when Paul comes back, and we can all sit down and talk about it.
All right, so last thing in theaters, I want to...
Eric's going to be the guy in the theater by himself to watch this fucking movie.
Yeah, I'm going to get...
You're going to sit away from your family. Just buy a ticket the same night as your family. Yeah. Just go see this movie.
Sit in the front row right now.
You're going to enjoy it.
So last thing in theaters for this month anyway is Knives Out. Why the hell would we bring this up? So Knives Out's a murder mystery. The reason we're putting it on here is because it's written and directed by Rian Johnson. So,
and I want to see it.
Why would we bring up Rian Johnson? Oh, I wonder. So Rian Johnson, of course, he was involved in Rogue One as an actor, but he did The Last Jedi, right? The Last Jedi.
Yeah. Was that what he did? Oh, wow. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's what
it was. Yeah. He was the cancer we cut out of Star Wars. Maybe.
Yeah, and everyone in the Star Wars fandom, apparently John included, says this movie was ruined because Rian Johnson. And there may be a lot of truth to that, and we don't have any proof of it yet. We're going to see when J.J. Abrams releases a movie here,
and J.J. has said at the end of Rise of Skywalker, all of it will be cohesive. It'll make sense somehow.
And maybe
I don't know how you do that. But
RJ won't get any shit out of that. But anyway, this Knives Out.
I just don't like Rian Johnson because he's a dick.
Yeah, I know.
But I want to see this movie.
Knives Out is going to be basically the first movie since TLJ that he releases, and sort of everybody after TLJ, everybody has pinned on him. Well, if this movie fails, it's because you're a piece of shit director, writer, producer, whatever it's going to be, right? This is the end of you.
But it's star-studded.
Yeah, and if it is good, oh, well then, maybe you just don't understand Star Wars or something, right? It's not the end of the world for you. But
the movie looks good. Have you seen the...
So the trailers look great. It is ensemble cast from hell. I mean, it's got Daniel Craig, it's got Chris Evans, it's got Ana de Armas, it's got Jamie Lee Curtis, it's got Michael Shannon, Chris Plummer. It's just like a million famous people in this movie. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's star-studded, and it's like 2 seconds away from a Clue remake because it's kind of got a lot of humor in the trailer, and it's a murder mystery. You know, grandpa, dad, whoever dies, and they're trying to figure out who the fuck killed him. Mm-hmm. And Daniel Craig plays the inspector that's trying to get to the bottom of it.
Daniel Craig's character has gotten, at this point, super rave reviews about how he does this, and they say it's a little bit cartoony, but it's great. It works perfect for the show.
If it fits the movie, though, it's cool.
So critic reviews, and I don't want to emphasize critic reviews, but here I am still talking about it. Critic reviews are very positive on this, but it's only had limited release. We don't have any user reviews to look at. So Friday is when it'll pop out, and we'll see what happens with the real people in the world, because critic reviews don't always line up.
Paul, Knives Out. You got any input?
No, it looks cool. It looks like a Agatha Christie like you mentioned, Clue remake. One of those Agatha Christie where they're like, the killer is still in this room.
Yeah.
Deals. So yeah.
Yeah, and the humor in it it hit me like okay, like he really knew how to write that, and it was just enough to me where I was like, I need this. Like, you know what I mean? Like I need a.
Did you see the Murder on the Orient Express that I told you to watch?
Part of it.
Oh god,
I fell asleep. Sorry.
It's got a similar vibe. It's sort of like comedic in a way that's not.
Yeah, but
this
I
isn't
love
a comedy, but
yeah. Leans heavy into the comedy, and I like those. So I think I'm going to like this, but we'll see.
I don't know that I'm going to see this in theaters. I may wait for it to come out somewhere else.
And I think you're right, just because I have so much I'm trying to do. I don't see any time where I'm going to get to see this.
Well, you saw Frozen 2, so any excuses you make about not having time, they just don't apply anymore. They don't work.
I'm surrounded by an 8-year-old and 3 women. I saw Frozen 2.
I'm just fucking with you.
You're going to see Frozen 2.
Yeah, probably.
And you know what? Again, after watching it, after that one scene, I am so glad I watched this damn movie. And without giving any spoilers, I can't justify my feeling for it. Once you see it, you'll know. It's amazing. And stay to the end. There's your only spoiler. Stay through the credits. There's something there.
All right. Okay. So we'll leave theaters alone. That drops, like I said, Friday the 27th. So last thing we want to do is just go over a few streaming things. Not going to draw it out. It's been far too long already. But so streaming on Amazon.
You are full of more broken promises than my ex-wives.
Yeah. Well, at least I have decent information to provide after I break my promises. So
they're better broken promises.
Amazon
right?
Prime, if you are a subscriber, right now you can watch every James Bond movie from the first Dr. No all the way through Die Another Day in 2002. So that's all the Connery movies. That's all the Dalton movies. That's all the Pierce Brosnan movies, and somebody else that I'm forgetting that was in the middle there. But anyway, you can watch all of them on Amazon Prime right now. There's so many.
Dalton, I don't know. Go ahead.
I'm forgetting somebody important, but
Roger Moore.
Yeah, there you go.
Roger Moore.
Thank you. So Roger Moore. So if you are a Bond fan, just get an Amazon Prime subscription right now, because you can watch so many movies that you will be entertained for the rest of the month, and you can cancel it when you're done.
November 20th.
Yeah, November 20th. An Amazon movie will release called The Fanatic. So
this is the trailer I made you watch, right?
Yeah. So this is a psychological thriller. It's written and directed by Fred Durst, of all people. But the stars are John Travolta.
Rolling. Sorry.
The stars are John.
Did he do it all for the nookie?
Yeah. I think the critics would say yes. He only did this for the nookie.
It's a chocolate starfish production.
Not getting any.
Right.
Yeah. Hot dog flavored water is the best thing he can hope for.
4. I want you people to count down 4 fucking Limp Bizkit references in about 30 seconds.
So John Travolta is the star of this. He plays an autistic man who is obsessed with a horror movie actor. And the horror movie actor is played by Devon Sawa, so there's a huge age gap there. I'm not even going to tell you what this is about. I will just say that it has extremely negative reviews so far. Despite the venerable Fred Durst directing and screenwriting.
Do you remember that bit I said we might be known for?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably going to be on our list.
Anyway.
Get ready, Paul. Sorry.
So, hey, listen, if you have Amazon Prime, it's free to watch. So November 20th, just go check it out.
It's not going to cost you anything but your soul.
See if the critics are full of shit. See if you want to watch John Travolta on screen ever again. Just do it. Just see what happens.
Knew they were right from the trailer. Anyway, fuck it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to do it. Paul, when you get home, we got to make a list of bad movies we got to review. I told you, 1 a quarter. We're going to try to spread it out so you guys don't try to kill me.
So the other one, November 22nd, a few days ago here, The Feed dropped. I've only watched the first episode of this. It's a British psychological thriller. It actually dropped in the UK like in September, but we just got it here on Amazon. It's about like this company develops this brain implant that people put in them, and it lets them share like their lives basically. Huh. You can share memories with people. You can share. They can see what you see if you want them to. You can sort of like video conference in your head. You can listen to music. It's like imagine if you just took a smartphone and you just put it in your brain, right? Yeah, you heard that smack yourself.
Yeah.
You put
the visual effect is amazing on an audio podcast.
You put it in your brain, and you're connected to everybody, right? So you can share things with other people, and so. But something goes really wrong with this technology, and as it would, right? And people can't shut off. It's called the feed.
Welcome to T-Mobile.
The sort of internet of the brain is called the feed, and something goes wrong, and people can't shut it off, and so they're getting a constant feed. In a few cases of things they don't want to see, and it sort of drives them mad, and they kill other people. And so that's where this starts. And so I've only seen the first episode, so I don't know if it's really any good. The first episode was definitely interesting, which is why I put it on the list.
Okay.
Could be
Sounds
fun.
Cool.
Could be crazy. Who knows? Moving on to Netflix, Zombieland and District 9 are available on Netflix now. I'm going to go watch Zombieland at some point soon just because I love it so much.
I know, and I'm still mad. That was one of the ones I was talking about when I missed movies, and we'll do that in a separate episode. But Zombieland 2.
Yeah, we still need to do that.
Yeah.
Soon.
District 9 was really cool. I enjoyed it.
I love District 9. It was probably one of my, at least for more recent, one of my favorite sci-fi films. It's got a really interesting premise. It's very different. It feels very sort of gritty. Part of it is almost found footage, but...
Yeah, a little bit.
But it works. It's not like Blair Witch Project sequel annoyingness. It's better than that.
Did you see it, Paul?
I did.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I like the. It feels like parts of it are shot with a GoPro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not going to dwell on it because we're running out of time. A few weeks ago, Mars Season 2 released on Netflix. If you guys haven't watched this, it's a super hard sci-fi sort of living on the planet Mars. Nat Geo is the producer for that, or the distributor, I guess, even though it's on Netflix. But so it's very realistic. They fit very well to the science. So if you liked the movie with what's his nuts, help me out here, Matt Damon, Trapped on Mars.
Oh yeah, The Martian.
The Martian. If you liked that, you might like
what
this.
Was that movie where he was on Mars?
They really focus on the science and keeping things very realistic. And so it's already been through a season. This is the second season that's dropping now, but or that dropped a couple weeks ago. Sorry.
Right.
John has always talked about the toys that made us.
Yes, season 3 dropped. I've already watched most of the WWE wrestler toys. Oh, dude, I cannot tell you how much I love this show.
Yeah. So it has been super successful for Netflix, and that's why they're dropping a season 3, of course.
Okay, have either one of you watched any of the seasons?
Yeah, I watched the first one.
Yep.
Oh, you recommended it. Yeah. I watched the first one.
All right, yeah. So maybe somewhere within the end of the year, by the end of the year, maybe we can throw in a recap of this show.
Well, so if you haven't read ahead,
we'd like to see.
If you haven't read ahead, I got a secret to tell you.
Oh yeah,
it's been so successful that they're now going to do a Movies That Made Us series.
Okay, yes, I thought I heard something either about that or TV, but yeah, okay,
Movies That Made Us. Movies That Made Us. So actually, believe it or not, that series launches the end of the month, November 29th.
Nice. Okay.
So the whole first season will drop all at once. Yep. Whole first season will drop all at once on Netflix on November 29th. So now you will have Toys That Made Us and Movies That Made Us, and you won't actually have to talk to Paul and I anymore because you'll have shows to keep.
Yeah, so I will not be a part of the What If Geeks anymore. I'm going to start my own second podcast, The Geeks That Made Us.
In the living room.
That's going to be the YouTube thing.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So yeah, definitely we got to recap some of that shit when we get into what we're doing next.
Yep, and then backtracking slightly because we're going to do an episode on this. Martin Scorsese's film, and by the way, Martin Scorsese is a massive shit talker about about
my only problem with this
superhero
asshole
films. What the fuck? He hates on superhero films like worse than anybody ever. It's ridiculous. I mean, he said that they're not cinema, they're not real films. He's basically saying, hey, this is a fad. I know how to make movies. Fuck you guys.
What?
Huh?
What do you say, Paul?
I think he's talking
Yeah, Gail came out to...
Oh.
I guess we're about to put the kids to bed.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll wrap you up.
We're actually almost done. We only got a couple things to go.
Yeah. Well, Scorsese is like so douchey, he pisses vinegar.
Yeah. So anyway, the Irishman movie, they did a limited theatrical release, and now it's going to be on Netflix on November 27th. It is a period 50s era crime drama. It stars Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, Harvey Keitel, Ray Romano, anybody you'd expect in a modern-made period area gangster movie. Does that work? All those words?
Parts of it are shot in a pizzeria that I grew up hanging out in Staten Island.
Oh, no shit?
Yeah. We briefly went over it before. Like I'll recognize it because I know the outside of it, but I'll point it out when we watch it. They changed the outside obviously to fit. But it used to be, it is Lee's Tavern in Staten Island in Duncan Hills. Okay,
so without dwelling on it...
we'll be doing an episode on it.
Yeah, we will be doing an episode on it. It's basically truck driver turned hitman for a crime mob family. I mean that's it. I'm sure it'll be good. The critic reviews, very positive. The user reviews for the limited theatrical release, very positive. I'm sure it'll be great on Netflix.
I hear you paint houses.
Yeah. So that's it for Netflix. Moving very quickly on to Disney Plus. November 29th, of course, will be the next episode of The Mandalorian, which we will review, I promise, probably the following Tuesday. And then for any Marvel's fans out there that are left, because we really haven't talked about Marvel, December 5th, Thor Ragnarok will be making its migration from the Netflix service over to the Disney Plus service, and it'll be there forever, forever and ever, then moving forward, yeah. So if you're waiting for that to show up, you can watch it there. If you're a Netflix subscriber, you can watch it there. You don't even have to wait. I think that's it for the Geekly Weekly stuff. The only other thing I wanted to cover is what we were going to do coming up the rest of this month and into, I guess the rest of the year, basically.
Yeah, all the way through the end of the year. Obviously, we've been pushing hard for like holiday stuff, kind of like brainstorming together. So I know like the one thing, sticking with the how did this get made, Birdemic and The Room kind of shit. We're gonna look at one thing I wanted to do was the Star Wars Holiday Special. We're gonna throw that in there. Maybe one or two other movies. We'll see how our schedule goes. But I
think Rise of Skywalker and The Irishman. And the holiday special. Hopefully, we'll get to all those before the end of the year.
Yeah, we can try to knock all those out. We may switch over. I know it was briefly discussed, but Paul didn't really chime in much. But we might switch over to recording on Mondays, depending on schedule. But three of us can kind of figure that out together offline. Obviously, Mandalorian Easter eggs and fan nods and throwbacks are going to go here and on the website. We'll do that shit. Like you said, we'll do the episode reviews. Let's see. Another one we're going to do best and worst holiday movies. Maybe we'll try to rank them, and we'll throw something up on the website. I think in that list, there's something that was going to pop in there, but yeah, best and worst holiday movies. Kind of maybe that's where I told you guys. I outside of the Star Wars Holiday Special, I'll save us from doing a how the hell did this get made for any other holiday movies. Yeah. Unless we just agree that one's funny enough that we want to do it together and we have time, I'll just drop them all there and we can talk about them there. The Watchmen series. I know we want to try to do that if we can ever watch it. Eric's dying to do this, so
no, it's okay. If Paul doesn't watch it, we'll do something else. We can do the Rise of Skywalker review instead at the end of the month.
Yeah, we'll throw that.
Forget about the Watchmen right now.
Yeah, so I think that will take us through the end of the year. I mean, obviously, we want to do somewhere within those. Obviously, we do our every time we do one. We'll throw in some weekly shit that we're gonna cover, but with the best and worst holiday movies, that's when we'll just like we did today with the Thanksgiving memories. We can kind of do a Christmas kind of we'll do something like that, or maybe something with toys. We try to figure out something with toys.
Ooh, toys.
Yeah, and that might even be able to tie into the toys that made us. We'll do something with that. We'll try to squeeze that in there, and we'll drop a double episode that we do something with toys that we grew up with. So it'd be like the Geekly version of the toys that made us. That might be fun.
Stretch Armstrong.
Holy shit. So we'll do something like that. So we've got a good handful of ideas that we got coming your way. If there's something that any of you ever want to contact us about, and you have an idea you want to hear before the end of the year, hit us up and let us know. But outside of that, other than what we've talked about, Paul, you got anything else to add?
That's it. You guys have a happy Thanksgiving.
All right, you too, brother.
You too, my friend.
All right, so that's it. So hit us up on whatifgeeks.com, whatifgeeks@gmail, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and everything else. And we'll check you guys later. Good night, Tony.
Good night, Fred Durst.
Good night, Ma. Fred Durst. Nice. God